So I went to Ostrava after I visited Brno. My expectations were actually quite low because I had some racist encounters when I was in Brno. So I thought maybe the people in Ostrava would be the same since the cities are quite close together, but the people were quite different. When I tell you, I got lost because Google Maps was just not working for me in this city. The train times, the connections, they were just not displaying in real time. So it was not very clear to me, like, which directions I had to go and so on and so forth. So I ended up taking a train in the opposite direction to where I was meant to be going. And I remember when I got on the train, this man could not believe what he was saying. And then I sat down and I asked this lady if I was on the right train to Ostrava Central. I showed her my ticket and she said, no, it's the other one. And then she pointed to the one in the opposite direction. And then another lady heard that like I was on the wrong train and she was trying to help. The man as well who was steering, he was also trying to help. So together, all of these three people were trying to help me and trying to guide me to get to the right station so I can get a train to Ostrava Central. So I thought that was pretty kind of them to do so. They went out of their way just to help me. I didn't even ask them, but they just came to help me. So the people in Ostrava were way more friendlier than the people in Brno. To be fair, the people in Brno, the younger people were friendly, just not the elderly women. I just loved how green this region is. I even spotted some deer, and the sunsets were amazing, as you can see. So my plan was to go to Krakow from Bratislava, but the journey was going to be too long. It was going to take about 7 to 8 hours on the train, and I thought I would just do stopovers in the cities along the way. And Ostrava happened to be one of those cities, so here I was. I went to this old industrial complex called Dolni Vitkovice. It's not for everyone, it's pretty much a wasteland. But for me, it's honestly one of the most inspiring places I've ever been to. With technology these days, I tend to forget the mechanics behind them, like our phones are sealed, TVs are sealed. So I don't really get to see what it takes to make them work. But here, the mechanics are visible, and this complex shows in great detail on what it took to actually make it work. And this site did a full production loop of steel production. So that's mining, coke making, iron smelting. This was rare because full steel production doesn't always happen on one site. It was one of the rare places in Europe where the entire steel production cycle happened on one site. And this site operated for nearly 170 years. So from early 1830 till 1998. You can get tickets to go inside it, but I didn't have time, so I had to observe from the outside. They also have guided tours, so this could be a chance to actually learn about the steelmaking process and the history in this town. You can check out more information on their website. You can easily find it on Google. Just type in Dolni Vitkovice. They do have great facilities like this cafe or restaurant. It's hard to believe that some of those ruins actually look like this on the inside. There's another cafe 80 meters up. With that one, you can actually get a good view of the city. It's that one right there, right on the top. You see how big the site is and how it connects around the city. This is another site, and I actually don't know what it's called, but if you do know, please let me know in the comments down below, and also let me know what it does or whatever it processes or produces. I just saw it when I was on the train like a few hours. Basically, you can see the industrial legacy throughout the city. I don't know if most of them are still in operation like this one. I can see the lights on, but the structure looks very old. So I actually don't know whether this is still in operation or not. But, it does appear to be, but I'm not exactly sure. Now, on the modern side, as you go around town, you can still spot some of the industrial complexes. There's a huge contrast between the modern areas and the old industrial sites. The old industrial sites were a complete different world from what I'm used to seeing. And the modern side just felt normal, but good type of normal if you get what I mean. And they also have the traditional European buildings, but I'll get to the traditional European buildings later on in the video. Ostrava is the third biggest city in the Czech Republic, the first one being Prague, then Brno. And Ostrava is actually very close to Poland. From the center of Ostrava, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes just to reach the border by car. And the nearest big city in Poland is Katowice. From Ostrava to Katowice, it would take about 1 to 2 hours on the train. Ostrava has this really great shopping center called Forum. It's a great place to chill and has a lot of options for shopping. It's also fantastic if you're doing a road trip and just need to rest. It has a lot of activities as well for kids, like jungle gyms, so this would keep the little ones busy. This shopping center spans about 58,000 square meters and has roughly 240 to 250 shops. So not just shops, like cafes, restaurants, and entertainment venues as well. And apparently this shopping center was built on a reclaimed mining site. For the food court, it has good variety of healthy options, traditional Czech food, Japanese, Vietnamese, and more. And I started off at this place with some pancakes. They were good, but not mind-blowing, if you get what I mean. So just pancakes, syrup, cream, and some fruits. The sitting area on the food court is actually huge, and not as packed as I thought it would be. Tried out a Thai restaurant on the court, and I actually forgot the name of this dish, but it was some noodles and beef. It was decent, nothing special, but decent. On the more traditional European architecture side of Ostrava, there's this square called Masarikovo na Mesti or Masaryk Square. I'm sorry for butchering the names. Obviously, I can't read the Czech alphabet, so I'm not sure how the accents sound. Now, the square is right in the heart of the old town. It dates back to 1362. As you walk around the old town, you get to see a lot of other beautiful architecture. Some parts look like Prague, others Brno, and I would say Vienna as well. And I came across this cathedral of the Divine Power, which I thought was so beautiful. And at the other end of the street, there was this Japanese cafe, but okay, let me start with the cathedral first. This was inside the cathedral. There was nobody inside, just somebody who was on the reception. This is the biggest church in Ostrava with a seating capacity of 4,000 people. Now, for the Japanese cafe, it's called Heiwa, so check it out if you're interested. It's right near the church. I ordered some matcha latte, and some poke. This is the Ostravice River. It plays a big role in the city's identity because it runs through the center of the city. It basically divides it into the Moravian Ostrava and the Silesian Ostrava. Moravia and Silesia are historical regions in Central Europe, and Ostrava sits right on the border between them. Moravia historically is on the Czech side, and Silesia is now divided between Czech, Poland, and a small part of Germany. This is on the Silesian side of the city. They have a really interesting monument called the Soviet Tank Monument. It has a real T-34 Soviet tank. You see this tank right here? That's a real T-34 tank. It's not the actual tank that fought in Ostrava, but it's a real Soviet tank. So why is there a Soviet tank in Ostrava and a monument for it in a Czech city? Well, it's because it commemorates the liberation of Ostrava by the Soviet Red Army. This was during World War II. Basically, it honors the soldiers who fought and died during the battle to free the city from Nazi occupation. From this monument, you can actually see the Moravian side. It's just across the bridge. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the Old Town is actually on the Moravian side. And in the Old Town, you can also find a lot of nice restaurants like Japanese, Korean, and traditional Czech. I stayed in this hotel and I actually can't pronounce the name, so I'll leave it in the subtitles. It's in this other town called Frydek-Mistek. I hope I'm saying that right. But it's 30 minutes away from Ostrava Central on the train. They're almost 51 euros per night for one person, so that's including breakfast. Everything was perfect. It was so clean. The hotel staff were nice, and I honestly really enjoyed my time in this hotel to the point where I actually extended my stay. I don't normally do that, but I did in this hotel. On the extension day, they actually gave me another room, which I also really liked, so I do highly recommend this hotel. I know it's like 30 minutes away from Ostrava Central, but This town, Frydek-Mistek, also has a lot of outdoor activities. I didn't get to explore the outdoor activities because the weather was so bad, but if you go in summer, you should be fine. The hotel also has a bar and restaurant. I think they brew their own beer by the looks of it. I'm not exactly sure, but it appears to be. And did you know that the Czech Republic consumes the most beer per capita in the whole world? I actually thought it was South Korea, but apparently Czech has been on the #1 spot for years now. Anyway, you also get to have your breakfast in this restaurant. It's a buffet, so you do get a lot of options. I'm always late for breakfast, so normally it's hard for me to actually capture the full buffet. I also had dinner in the same restaurant, and it was amazing. I had some chicken wings with salad and bread. I don't know if this is traditional Czech food, but it was delicious. Now, for the town of Frydek-Mistek, where the hotel was located, it has its own charm, and I actually did a little walk just to see what was around it. So, just to be clear, Frydek-Mistek is not in Ostrava, but in the south of Ostrava. It was formed by merging two towns, Frydek and Místek. Frydek is on the Silesian side and Místek is on the Moravian side. They became one city in 1943 during World War II. Basically, this area was under Nazi occupation and the merger was not originally a local decision. It was rather an administrative move by the occupying authorities. This town also had some diversity when it came to food. I did not expect to see a Korean store, so this was a nice surprise. I also saw a Korean restaurant, and I'm sure if I stayed longer, I would have seen some more things or like some more types of cuisines, like maybe Japanese or Vietnamese. Normally, when I travel to towns or cities that are not so well known, the only other option is usually Italian food. And what I mean by that is just pizza and pasta. So this was great. So this is the Freedom Square. I will leave the Czech name in the subtitles. It's the main square in the Místek part. So from what I was told from the locals was that they still distinguish the town with one side of the river being Frydek and the other side being Místek. And this square is on the Místek side. I'm assuming the Místek part has more traditional buildings like this one, and the Frydek part has more modern buildings, so more like this one. But if anybody knows more on this, please let me know in the comments down below. Frydek-Mistek also has this really great shopping center. It's not as big as the one in Ostrava, but it still has a lot of things. Just smaller, you know? And they have this tea shop. I'm obsessed with this other tea I bought from there. I would honestly fly back to Ostrava just to buy this again. And next time I'll be buying in kilos. Honestly, it's one of the best teas I've ever had. So I bought these 3 types of tea, and I'm obsessed with the one that says Malina v Medu. I think it's got some kind of honeycombs on it, but it's so good. They also had a food court, but I actually didn't have time to try any food. Can you believe I was actually recording this when it was about 2 hours just before my flight? So the weather was so bad actually, and it looked like it wasn't going to get any better, so I decided not to go to Poland and decided just to book a flight back home. And when I was at the train station, I just kept spotting these little cute bunnies everywhere and some deer, which was so interesting. I was not expecting to see deer or bunnies at the train station, so this really made my day. I actually didn't even know that Ostrava had an airport and the connections are quite good. And there was hardly anybody there, so no queues whatsoever. I thought I was going to be late for my flight, but when I actually arrived just an hour and a half before takeoff, the security checks were not even open yet. So I was actually waiting just to even pass through security. And once they opened the security checks and once I got through, they took ages as well just to board the flight. I think Ostrava is not a very touristy city and it didn't have that many things to do. I mean, if there are more than what I showed in this video, please let me know in the comments down below. However, I did like the city because the people were nice and the food was also good. I like all of the food in Czechia, to be honest. I think Ostrava is a great stopover city if you're like going to Krakow or if you're going to go to Prague. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.